A boy wanders through a forest. As dusk falls, he hears whispers, thin laughs drifting between the trees. He stumbles, lands in a perfect ring of mushrooms. And when he steps out again, time has passed. Hours, days, maybe years. Fairy rings are one of the most alluring and most unsettling folk beliefs in Britain. But behind the story lies something far darker than people realised. In the Middle Ages, when fairy lore was at its height, these circles were said to be the places where fairies danced at night. Entering one could compel you to dance with them until your feet bled, or until centuries slipped by outside the ring. In other tales, the rings were gateways, places where the veil thinned, where a moment inside could become a lifetime in the human world. And some believed they were the devil's footprints, left after he danced through the night, tempting those who stepped inside into hidden pacts. Fairy rings can appear anywhere, in forests, fields, ancient pastures. They form perfect circles of mushrooms, springing up overnight as if crafted with intention. And some are ancient. France is home to a funnel mushroom ring estimated to be around 800 years old. In England, folklore claims some rings near prehistoric sites like Stonehenge may be 1,000 years old, though this seems to just be legend. Still, these circles were never to be disturbed. To break one or kick over its mushrooms was to invite bad luck. People still report strange experiences around them today. When I first started looking at this topic last year, I stepped into one myself, and that same day, multiple birds hit my window. They survived, but the timing was strange. Perhaps there is something to it, or it could just be coincidence. But the fears of fairy rings weren't isolated. In Old Wales, there's an old tale of a shepherd who stepped into a ring after hearing music drifting across the hills. When he returned to his village, everyone was gone. The houses empty, the names unfamiliar. He hadn't wandered for minutes, but for decades. In Scotland, a group of children once followed strange lights into a ring near Aberfolly. According to the legend, they were found the next morning dancing silently in a perfect circle, completely unaware that the sun had risen. Little moments of vanishing time, and all tied to these circles. The truth, however, may be darker than the tales. As I discussed in my last video, fairies were once part of the everyday explanation for how the world worked. They were woven into the unknowns of nature, the things people couldn't understand. Today, we understand a lot that we didn't in the Middle Ages. We now know mushrooms grow from mycelium, underground networks of thread-like fibres that create mushrooms, the fruiting body. And the ring shape comes from mycelium expanding outwards year after year. And mushrooms can appear almost instantly after rain, appearing from these circular networks as if summoned from nowhere. To the people of the Middle Ages, this could have been an act of the fairy folk, but there is something far more sinister. Because what if I told you fairy rings can actually distort time, make you see things that aren't there, and even cause people to vanish? Britain is notoriously fungiphobic. Our dank climate, old forests and heavily grazed fields create the perfect conditions for huge mushroom diversity, and many of these are toxic species. Many of them grow in rings, and some mushrooms found in these fairy rings can alter perception, twist time, and make reality feel wrong. The fly agaric, a classic red and white toadstool mushroom synonymous with fairy folktales, can cause vivid hallucinations, euphoria, disorientation, and temporary amnesia, potentially leaving one to wander the forest. Fool's funnel, a small white mushroom that often grows in rings, can cause trembling, confusion, and dizziness, causing a walk across a meadow into a hellish nightmare. Or another mushroom, very commonly found in the fields of Britain, is psilocybin, a mushroom that can cause intense hallucinations when consumed in large quantities, and perhaps you might feel as though you are quite literally in the fairy realm. And there are many toxic lookalike mushrooms that are almost indistinguishable from their edible varieties. And some, like death caps or deadly web caps, are lethal. Their effects can take hours to appear, enough time for someone to wander deeper into the woods and never return. So when medieval villagers said fairy rings were dangerous places, where time slipped, minds twisted, or people disappeared, maybe they weren't entirely wrong. These stories were never just about fairies. They were warnings shaped by fear, survival, and the unknown. A folklore taboo born from a very real danger. And perhaps their power truly can change you.